It's the beginning of the show, and I sing stuff at the beginning of the show while the loading thing is going. Ow. Oh. I just jabbed my thumb. Oh. Oh, God. I don't know if I can control the show today. What's up, Internet? It's Wednesday. How you doing, everybody? Sorry for yelling into your ears. You know how it is. You know how it goes around here. Let's smooth it out. I'm going to take my shoes off. I'm taking my shoes off because I got no shoes on. Call me Shoeless Joel today. What's up, everybody? Glad to be here, warming it up on a Wednesday, doing whatever we're doing here on a Wednesday. My desk is a disaster. Woo! Woo! Hopefully everybody's having a fun one out there. Feel free to bring on the questions today, because today's show was foiled by the United States Postal Service. Something happened to our package in the mail. Where is our package? It's somewhere in the mail. Somebody told me a little while ago, throwing down in some, they were throwing down, what were they throwing down? They were throwing down in some comments. They was throwing down in some comments threads that I's not either a musician nor a comedian, so I better shut up. So, good luck with your commentary, because it fell on deaf ears, my friend, because I will not be quiet. And I probably will keep singing songs and doing what I got to do, because it's my show, and I get to do what I want on my show. What's up, everybody? I think we're warmed up. I think I'm done saying what's up. Oh, I forgot to say howdy to the first persons to the chat. Pete Berlinski, the Fish Tank Barn, and Chad Kratz. What's up, 1, 2, and 3? Good to see you. We've also got the zombie drummer in the house. Let's scroll down here. We got Twin Cities Guppies, Mr. Kengley himself. I saw a post from Kengley, Mr. Twin Cities Guppies. That's Mr. Twin Cities Guppies to you. I saw he's got some new tanks set up. I'm excited. Are you guys excited? You should go over to Twin Cities Guppies and see if he's got some guppies for sale, because I've seen them in person, and they dope. And I still have some footage from there. I keep trying to edit it into something that's I think is cool, and I feel like I'd be letting Kang down, man. So I got to keep working on it. I got to work on it. Maybe I'm going to buy a plane ticket and fly out there and do a reshoot. Who knows? Maybe that's what I have to do. Maybe I got to do that. That might be the thing. That might be what I end up doing. I might end up just going back out, invading Kang's house, solo style, and being like, "Hey man, you got any coffee around here, bro? Got any ice creams? Oh, you got fish tanks? Let's talk about fishes, bros." Creedmoor Aquatics is asking, oh no, did the USPS go Donkey Kong on your King Kong? No, we, as you guys know, my first recommendation to everybody out there, whether you're new in the hobby, old in the hobby, fresh in the hobby, whatever, doesn't matter. If you're going to order, you know, if it's going to be, I mean, not necessarily order, but if you're going to buy some plants, you're going to buy some fish, you're going to buy some shrimp, you're going to buy some whatever, you know, try to go local. If you guys can find a local breeder or something like that, that's the way to go. Now, I went pseudo-local because you guys can go back and you can actually find, I went to, not only did I, in that day, we went to Travis's fish room. We went to Zeke's fish room. We went to Jason Lou's fish room. I'm spacing out, but there's 4 more that we went to in that day. We went to Brian's fish tanks, all in one day. We went to 7 different fish rooms. So one of them, Travis, I actually got the video done and got it posted up. You guys can see he's mainly a guy who operates out of one. I think I want to say it's like a 160-gallon aquarium or something like that, and then he's got one other aquarium. So it's basically a guy who's only got 2 aquariums. He's doing a ton of plant work, stuff like that. And so I ordered plants from him. As far as I know, Jason actually added some plants into the box too, because he was just like, I heard Travis is sending you a box. Whoa, I'm going to send you some plants too. So we had those plants coming. They were supposed to land Saturday. Or, no. They went in the mail on Saturday. They were supposed to land Monday. Hold on. I feel like I got my story all mixed up. Let me look at my calendar here. I got to pull out the calendar. Pull out the calendar, bros. So I ordered them last week, and I think Travis got them in the mail either Friday or Saturday. I think he got them in the mail on Friday, and then they were supposed to be here Saturday for some reason. They were like on some kind of fast track, and then they got rerouted or something, and they said, oh, they're going to be here Monday morning. Like, oh, okay, Monday morning, not a big deal. Monday morning came, Monday morning went. Honestly, I wasn't like super stressed out about it because I was like, you know what? They will probably be here Tuesday morning. Well, it's not Tuesday now. It's Wednesday now, and they are still not here. So my plan for today's show was to open that box on camera. We were going to open the box. I was going to show you guys an unboxing from another hobbyist, actually 2 other hobbyists, right? Of some pretty cool plants that I've been looking for a while. I can't really find them. You can't even really find them to order, even if you wanted to order them from somewhere. It's generally speaking, it's some of the unique plants that you're looking for. You're probably going to have to find somebody who's actually growing them myself. And, so we were going to get those in today. We were going to open up the box. We were going to talk about some of those plants. And here's the thing, if it came earlier, if it came on Monday, then I was actually going to what's the word? I was going to open the box ahead of time, show you guys the footage of that, and then get them planted and show you guys the planting of them, but it still hasn't arrived. So we're just I don't know. We're just chilling like Bob Dylan on penicillin, waiting to see if we can get a box from the United States Postal Service. I assume that it will show. They're saying it's out to be delivered today. My assumption, because typically the postman gets here before the show starts. The show starts at 3 o'clock. Nowadays, the postman normally gets here around 2 o'clock or something like that. So I was like, oh, fingers crossed. Maybe it'll be here, and then we'll open it up on the show, and it's not here yet. Still has not arrived. So we just we're just marinating. We're just marinating on our own whatever. So all the plans of mice and men were foiled by the United States Postal Service and it not necessarily showing up on time. So that's life. And life happens. Life happens every once in a while, and you're just like, hey, you got to roll with the punches. You got to roll with the deal. So we don't really have any plans for today. So we'll just talk about some of the stuff that we got going on. I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions, and then we'll just kind of see where we go from there. There is a possibility that the postman shows up during the show, and maybe I'll go grab it, rip my address off of it, and then bring it in here and open it up. But I had the camera 2, I was getting set up, and as I had mentioned on Monday's stream, we were having problems. Us, you, I, we, everybody. We were all having problems with the old monitor over here. That, boy howdy, it's like the saddest death. It's like the saddest death when a monitor just starts to give out, and it's like, why is it all fuzzy over there in the monitor, right? And you're like, that's not good. And then it kind of starts to spread, and then contrast is weird, and then you edit something, and then you play it on an actual screen, and then you're like, uh-oh, that's not good. Well, we got the new monitor today, so I had to get that all hooked up. I got that hooked up, and the funny thing is that I was counting on hooking up the new monitor was going to be like, I don't know, what, 10 minutes at most, unscrew some screws, plug in some plugs, right? Boom, done. Well, I got the articulating arm over here that holds the screen, you know? It's like mounts to the back. It's called a VESA mount. Mounts to the back of the screen, and then you can like whoop 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 while you're doing like Super Mario Brothers noises. Right, and then here's the funny thing. So the new monitor that came is too heavy. It's gonna be like, he's not heavy. He's my brother, right? And so it's too heavy for this arm that I got here. And I was like, oh, there must be, right? Because I'm thinking in my headspace, right? I'm like, there must be what do you call that? There must be an adjuster on there, right? There's got to be like a bolt that I can adjust the tension, right? No, I was wrong. Me? I was mistaken. There is no adjusting this one. And I'll tell you this much. I am not going to order another one of these articulating arms because I have 3 of them. That is plenty. I don't need another one, but I'm going to have to figure out a workaround. This feels like a good opportunity to bust out the welder and do some MIG welding and just weld this thing into place and be like, yep, that's how you adjust the tension on this thing. You just weld it solid, right? Is that how you do it? So I think that's what's going to happen, and I'll definitely get to that, but it's probably not going to be today. It'll come up. We got a $5 super chat from Ryan Avery. We better answer that. What is it here? It says, hey, Joel, had an outbreak of brook in my reef tank recently. Lost all the fish. How do I need to keep my display tank fishless to be safe? Whew. How long do I need to keep my display tank? Man. I wish there was like some kind of metric that I could just easily... How many chat windows do I have open? That's weird. Let me fix this. There we go. I wish there was a time frame that you could just say... I'm trying to think of what brook is. Yeah, I think brook is just another name for velvet, right? I think brook is another name for velvet. That's what I'm remembering. Hold on, I'm going to do a quick Google search here real quick, because I think brook is just another name for velvet. Here we go. Brook or velvet. Hold on. Oh, this would take me a while to read this, but okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry. You guys know I run my little reef, but I just don't do reef stuff very much. And brook is like, that is a super weird disease. Yeah, that's the skin slough, right? Yeah. That's that weird skin slough disease. It's not velvet. That's what it is. I personally have never had any success dealing with that. Now, we dealt with it once at the store, and it was like one of those times that we basically like said a prayer, you know, and I think like I said, I've only encountered it one time, and that was at the store, and I don't even know if it ever really worked out. But we basically took all of the fish out of the tank. I'll tell you what we did. This is what we did. We took the fish out. We moved them to the independent quarantine tanks, right? We moved them to the independent quarantine tanks, and we treated them with just pretty much every treatment, from Melafix to Pimafix to Icax to all that stuff. As Mike Howie just mentioned, formalin, antibiotics. I mean, there was pretty much just treating for everything out of those fish. And I do not recall any success with those fish making it. Now, that's in a store environment. Store environments are a little bit different. They're a lot different than home environments, mainly because you just think of the abundance of stuff that is going on. It's not really going to get the attention that it really needs. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on dealing with Brook at all. Like I said, I've only encountered it once. But from there, we actually took all the live sand out. And I'm not going to say we threw it out, but we had a way of sterilizing the sand, which is just absurd, so I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. But I would basically take the sand out, I would take the live rock out of that system, and I would clean everything in that system like crazy. Same thing with velvet. I would pretty much give it the exact same treatment. I would probably bleach all of the live rock. I would probably just restart the system. I mean, I don't... It really... obviously some of the techniques as far as the reef stuff goes, some of my techniques are based on what you would do in a store, which I don't think is necessarily what you would do at home. You might have better success at home being able to treat an individual, a more individual system, and you might be able to get all the live rock out of there, probably bleach it, just get it completely bleached out and go that route. That's probably what I would do, is just bleach all the live rock and restart and just deep clean that whole entire system. Now, I can't stress this enough. Like, reef systems, like you drop stuff into there, it can just annihilate the whole thing. I mean, sometimes you're really, really taking a chance adding something into a reef tank, and a lot of times I'm fingers crossed, because sometimes I don't quarantine corals and stuff like that, because certain systems that I may, like, if I get them from somebody that I know that's running a good system, it's like I can get a couple reef polyps and stuff like that, give them a little bit of I can give them a little dip, I can give them a Melafix dip or something like that, and move them into the system without quarantining them for a real long time. One of the local stores around here, they'll quarantine fish for me, but it is really kind of a drag if you get. See, I would go about it the same way as if I had velvet. I would just clean and sterilize the whole system and kind of start over. It really sucks, and it sounds like all of your fish didn't make it anyhow. And the unfortunate side is most of your coral, when you start getting into, sterilizing, like cleaning the system and trying to get rid of everything that's in there, is that you'll probably just end up killing the coral anyhow. So I would almost consider moving the coral to like a small, if you had a bunch of coral in there, I would move them to a small holding tank and go that route with them and just kind of quarantine them in there and then just clean the whole system. It really sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, man. You get those big outbreaks in the reef sometimes, and it really sucks. I wouldn't necessarily be the guy to try and recover a really big system like that. I don't think I would even be the guy. To be brutally honest, I don't think I would be the guy to even pitch in help. You know what I mean? Because at that point, I just pretty much think, we got to sterilize, we got to start over. I'm overly patient with a lot of stuff. Like my reef tank, I haven't added anything to it. I added some Recordia coral, and I added a couple of like almost just kind of nurse them back to health branching coral, but that's pretty much all I've added to it. I've just been literally, topping it off. I'm about to do a big water change on it. That's pretty much, where I'm at. Because like, I saw so many people that would like add stuff. They would add stuff to their reef, and it would just go downhill so fast. So, but as Dope Aquarium says, move corals to a hospital tank and nuke that tank. It's pretty much, yeah, I wish I could just like give you some kind of, I wish I could give you an advice of like, yeah, go buy a bottle of this and just dump it in there and you'll be fine. It's just, the unfortunate thing with reef tanks is like, I mean, even in planet tanks, even in, an established like Tanganyika tank, right? Like an established, cichlid tank, something like that is, a fully established system like that stuff can really survive in nooks and crannies and things like that. And, even if, like, let's say I had something crazy happen in one of my big, in like one of my big planet aquariums, something like that. Like I wouldn't necessarily consider nuking the system, but depending on what it was, like let's say I got freshwater velvet, right? I would consider like a very, very, very long-term, treatment program, really. Like I would go way down the route of like nothing in that tank, only plants, only medicating, all that kind of stuff for a really, really, really long time. I don't know if you guys have figured this out, but I'm terribly patient when it comes to certain things, and I'm terribly impatient when it comes to certain things. So like I'm just, there's some stuff where I'm like, yeah, I'll get into crystal shrimp. It's almost been 2 years. We've almost lived in this house. In 3 months. 3 months from now, we'll have lived in this house for 2 years, and I just got new crystal shrimp the other day, right? To restart that program. So it's, I didn't feel right about any of the other systems that I had set up for crystal shrimp. So certain things I'm like super patient. Some things I'm super patient, and some things I'm like completely impatient. And, one of those things is like with that reef tank, it's like, since the freshwater disaster, all I've been doing is, this is all I've been focusing on in there is growing algae, macroalgae in my sumps. Obviously maintaining water quality, and all I've been doing with that tank is like feeding the fish a little bit, the ones that made it, and basically just been growing coralline algae. That's basically all that I've pretty much been doing in there. And that's pretty much all I've been doing. So it's, I would say I wish there was like a really easy way to go about it, but I feel like it's just one of those, I feel like it's one of those situations where you're really just going to have to like bite the bullet and go the hard route and just kind of slow go back on that tank. Mr. Stewart 07 might be off topic, but typically, how long does it take driftwood to sink on its own without boiling? Well, I would almost always like attach a rock to it or something like that, but it depends on the size and the type of wood. So the more dense it is, it's going to take a little bit longer to waterlog. I think the longest I've ever had a piece of wood float on me was probably like 3 weeks or something like that. But I'm really passive when it comes to I'm really, really passive when it comes down to like sinking a piece of wood or something like that, or I'm completely impatient. So it's one of those two things. Like typically I would just take like a 55-gallon garbage can, fill it up with water, throw the driftwood in there, put the lid on it, and then be like, I will walk past it 900 times while I've forgotten that wood is in there, and then be like, oh yeah, where's that wood for that tank? Go out there, open it up, and it may have been 6 weeks. And And it might have been like 6 weeks or something like that. Oh, it's sinking. It's sunk in there. Cool. I wonder if anybody heard me fart. I'm gonna point it out because somebody out there heard me fart, and they're gonna be like, "Dude, you farted." And be like, "I did. I really, really do not feel great." As a little bit of a backstory on my day today, I had to get up and get out the door by 6:30 so that I could go to the dentist. That was a lot of fun. Now everybody's looking at my teeth, wondering if my teeth are all screwed up. No, my teeth are good. I had to get some more periodontal cleaning type thing. I have one little trouble spot that they're helping me clean in between one of my wisdom tooth and my molar. And overall, healthy checkup. But that same spot is where I think I'm going to get a preventative filling in there. Just basically so the dentist can drill around in my head and then do some exploratory surgery in my mouth or whatever the heck he's going to do. He's going to put a filling in. But I'm going to let him put a filling in just ahead of time. Like, there's not really a cavity there, but he's saying that, like, the enamel is a little bit screwed up. So I would be remiss to, like, I'd be like, yeah, why don't we do that now? Well, like, why don't we change the transmission fluid before the transmission explodes, right? So we're going to get the preventative filling in there at some point in time. And I really have not been feeling good. I ate Jack in the Box yesterday and not feeling great at all. Didn't sleep good last night. Went to the dentist this morning. Got a super fussy baby that got shots the other day. And my stupid box of plants didn't show up. And, yeah, so it's been a little bit weird. It's been a little bit weird. Been a weird day. Woo! You know. Got to get that tooth mouse happening. What? Tooth moose? I got to get the tooth moose? I don't know what a tooth moose is. 54 Punchy flooded the kitchen and living room. Oh, my God, that's right. I heard you mentioned that you had a pipe burst, which is nuts. Sorry to hear that. Somebody was asking, did I paint a painting for Flip Aquatics? Yeah, I painted a painting for Flip Aquatics. When was the aquatic experience? Let's see. Aquatic experience last year. When was the aquatic experience last year? The aquatic experience will be here. Is that it? Was it October? Yep, October 19th through the 21st. Oh, that's what that sound is. Somebody mentioned in the comments a while ago if I could stop sucking my teeth, and I think I just figured out what it is. Every once in a while I do this thing. I do that. That's what it is. Sorry, guys. I don't know who else that's been driving nuts, but I really don't. I don't mean to do that on purpose. Let's see. October 19th, 20th, and 21st. Ah, I did it. I just did it. Okay, I'm getting it. I'm all right. I'm catching on. Whoever mentioned that. Yeah, I was at the dentist today, so maybe it's exacerbated by that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, yeah. The 14 weeks ago? 15 weeks ago was when I sent that to Rob. 15 or 16 weeks ago. He had it before the aquatic experience. He left it on his porch for a week and hadn't even opened it, or he left it on his porch for a week and a half, and hadn't opened it until after he got back from the aquatic experience. Yeah. So it feels like old news. It feels like old news that I painted that painting at this point. I feel like I probably would have been super excited that he'd opened it or whatnot. But it was so long ago. I didn't even have a baby then. We didn't even have a baby yet. So it feels like a long time ago now. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like at least a year ago. It feels like at least a year ago that was going down, right? So I don't know. But I'm glad you guys liked it. I'm sorry there was a hole in it. I don't know if that happened when the mailman got there or when it was on the porch or any of that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know what happened. So either way, he's got a cool painting, and that's that. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Twin Cities Company says, do it again. Honestly, I'm trying not to do it. I mean, I had mentioned to the the person that had commented that, as I was like, oh man, am I doing something super annoying? As you guys know, I'm always trying to improve the show around here, trying to make it better, trying to make video segments, to try to do stuff. I'm just a small channel. I don't have a lot of production. I don't even have anybody helping other than the babysitter right now, who I'm paying out of pocket to help. Which I don't mind. I feel like it's a good deal. I feel like it's a good deal for everybody. So, but I don't have any production help or anything like that. So, still trying to make the show that I want to make. I don't even think I've ever made the show that I want to make. Somebody mentioned they saw the LED video today. I thought the LED video came out pretty good. I feel like that was at least I feel like it was at least like a video, you know what I mean? So I'm going to try and keep making more and more stuff like that. B. Tim's is asking, what are your thoughts on discus? Have you kept them? I've kept discus in the past. I've been associated with a lot of discus stuff. I definitely enjoy discus. They're a great little fish. They're a little more predatorial than people think. They typically see them just kind of chilling. They see them in a tank and they're like, wow, look at them. They're pretty peaceful. They're a little more predatorial than I like to keep. I mean, obviously, there's like, what's the word? What am I thinking about? What is the thing? What was I talking about? Oh, obviously I keep like the puffers and stuff like that, so they are pretty predatorial, you know what I mean? But that's really, I never really got that deep into keeping them myself. But as your follow-up question is I hear that they aren't tough. They're a pretty tough fish. I mean, they can do pretty well, especially if they're aquacultured. So if somebody's like locally breeding them, raising them up in an aquarium, they can definitely handle a lot. It's the wild-caught discus that have issues converting into an aquarium. So if the big issue that you're having with discus is maybe they aren't very hardy, maybe they aren't doing very well, if you're going to get into discus, I would 100% find somebody who's breeding them near you in an aquarium. That's what I would look for in discus, and you're going to find a lot more, not necessarily selection, but you're going to find more specific selection, right? If you do go to somebody who's importing, especially wild discus and stuff like that, you're going to find a bunch of browns and maybe not the greatest ones to look at and stuff like that. Whereas if you do find kind of a local breeder guy, normally they'll have worked their way out of doing those fish and being like, oh, all I've got is the, whatever fancy name they got for a sun-blazing orange Blastos, they all have some kind of weird name. It's like, it's a blue diamond crusted with purple emerald discus fish, right? So you got to watch out for that. And it's all street names and stuff like that. It's like when you're trying to buy your basement tomatoes, and somebody's like, "Oh, this is that Kush from Hawaii." Anyhow, that's stuff from the 70s. We'll stay away from basement tomatoes. But you definitely want to find somebody that's breeding them local, and they actually are quite a pretty hardy fish. You can get them pretty adolescent size and grow them up in your tank. And but you do want to make sure that you are doing good amount of water changes. They do come from water that is really fast flowing, so that's where people will kind of encounter their problems. And that's the same thing with crystal shrimp. They come from streams that have fast flowing water that are really going to, they're really, the water that they live in and breed in and stuff is being replenished with fresh, clean stuff on a regular basis. So, but you don't have to go completely insane with aquaculture discus. You just want to be doing your good size weekly water changes. Definitely plants are going to help with discus at almost any point in time. A healthy planted aquarium, add some discus to it, are generally going to be they're generally going to be pretty. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. That's what happens when I'm talking to myself and then I start reading a question for the next thing. I don't know what I was going to say. We shall move along. 54 Punchy says that is close to a quote from Leonardo da Vinci. You never finish a painting, you just abandon it. It's very true. It's very accurate. You don't ever finish a painting, you just stop working on it. Kind of like Zoe's name. Oh, like zoanthids, like the Alan I fire drop. yeah. It's always like the blasto sun kissed. Ooh, but they are. But yeah, I guess to jump back to discus again, Jamie McDonald said discus are a real commitment. They are beautiful around if you're on top of your game. Yeah, I think just like a reef tank, if you're working on your basics, it makes it really easy to run a reef tank. And I feel like the same thing with a planted tank. If you're really just working on, if you're working on your basics, like there's basically the four things that are really important with a planted tank, and it's water quality, substrate, light, and what's the other thing? A box? No. You got lights, you got CO2. CO2 is kind of supplemental, but it's lights, water quality, and good substrate, and you're going to be good. I guess the fourth thing is like fertilizer, CO2, whatever, that kind of stuff, the supplementary type things. But if you have good water quality, you're paying attention to your aquarium and just doing what you need, and then you're just following through and your like weekly water changes and stuff like that, discus would easily live in a tank like that. Now, you don't want to put them in a tiny tank because they do need space. They do need space to move around, even though they're kind of just staring at you, giving you the side eye like, I'm a weird little discus. They're constantly doing that, sure, but they do need a lot of space to move around, and they do quite a bit, and they like some swimming. They like a little bit of flow, and they do need some space to swim and move and just kind of occupy their own zone. So don't put them in a small tank, but 40 breeder and up, is definitely going to be, 40 breeder. You probably have like 3 in there, maybe something like that. They just don't overstock. Other than weekly water changes, what else makes discus difficult to keep? It's difficult to keep soft, clean water for them. Like that's basically what they want. They want soft, clean water, but that's also what you're going to be doing with the planted tank. A planted tank is going to clean the water. The plants are going to clean the water. You're going to need to do some water changes to make sure that your water quality is at least close to good, right? So, Dan Squire says discus come from the dirtiest water in the world. They come from water that has low visibility. That doesn't mean that it's not clean, and typically when we're talking about clean water, it's like no abundance of ammonia, no abundance of other toxins that are toxic for fish and stuff like that. So, yeah, you could have it be cloudy if you like, but we mean clean as far as, chemical compounds and stuff like that. Like, you don't just want a bunch of ammonia in a tank and then just be like, yeah, here's my fish. Yeah, and they died. Let's see. Tizzle Dexter was asking, yeah, Celtics fan. Oh. What happened here? Da, 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 da. Oh, man. I saw your comment question. I didn't. It was to somebody else. But Nebraska SXHC with a $2 surprises. Celtics fan Crush Coral, maybe. What? Let me see. You guys have a good suggestion for raising KH? Do. I think that's the question. Crushed coral can be helpful. A little bit of baking soda. It's pretty easy too. You know, pretty basic. But I prefer crushed coral just because it's a little easier. It's easier to not get crazy swings. All right, let me see if we can't scroll back a little bit. Maybe we missed somebody's question. Jeffrey Bollinger says, Joel, what plant should I use on Driftwood to make it look like a tree? Fluval 3.0 in a 55-gallon with no CO2. I oftentimes like to use Anubias to make them look like trees, but it's not a great idea to take the Anubias from down low and put it up really high. You will grow a lot of algae on it if you're not careful. And it could be a super bummer when it gets a bunch of algae growing on it. There are a lot of options. Physodins is a good one. I would suggest Subwassertang, however you want to say it, Subwassertang. That's a really good one. It looks really cool if you can get it going. Physodins is probably the most common one that you see being made into a tree. Any of the mosses, Christmas moss is probably the one that I would do the most often out of the mosses. I'm kind of doing that a little bit in the new shrimp tank. Chubby Guppy says willow moss. Willow moss is a good one. Let's see. Randy Hightower said, did you ever end up trying Wonder Shells? I don't recall, but it seems like you talked about it sometimes back. Yeah, I use Wonder Shell all the time. I use Wonder Shell quite a bit, especially in the snail tanks that have snails and stuff like that. I generally will add a Wonder Shell every once in a while, for sure. Candy says, we don't fight. She's my friend. Who's fighting? Nobody's fighting. Mark Dibble's asking again, do I understand right that you painted the shrimp that Rob unboxed? Apparently Rob unboxed a shrimp painting today that I sent him 15 or 16 weeks ago. So I think that's what he unboxed, and they I guess the postman damaged it or whatever. I'm not 100% sure on that. Rob said that the postman damaged it, but he also said that he left it on his porch for over a week before he even opened it at his house. So I don't know. The correspondence I got from him was basically like, oh, you need to file an insurance claim with the post office. And I was like, no. So I just left it at that because I was like, okay. Let's see. Ali Greenwell's asking, hello, does Monte-Carlo need CO2? I'm using liquid carbon, 10-gallon tank with LED lights. My pH is 8. Not sure if I should try to change that. Monte-Carlo is going to need a little bit of minerals in the water, so I'd check your KH and GH and see what's going on with that. It doesn't need CO2. Not 100%, not Monte-Carlo, but as you guys know, Monte-Carlo is one of my big Achilles heel because I have super soft, clean water here. But your pH being around 8, I would guess. I would realistically guess that there is, what's the word? Oh, if your pH is 8, I would guess that you probably do have a good amount of minerals and stuff in your water. But if you are low at all on mineral, Monte-Carlo always just starts freaking out. And my soft water here has basically nothing in it. It has like a tiny bit of iron and just enough silicate to screw with my reef if I don't filter it. So I always run into a problem with Monte-Carlo unless I'm adding a bunch of stuff to the water, which is why I just switched over to pearlweed, because I'm like, oh, hey, pearlweed don't care. Pearlweed grow good with the rest of my plants. So I took the Monte-Carlo out and I threw it on the ground, and I think the chickens ate it. Mark Dibble's asking, sorry if you answered before, do I contract art? I do contract art, but it ain't cheap. So if anybody's walking in to be like, hey, man, I need you to make a painting for me, just know, before you send me an email, it ain't going to be cheap. And I say that just in the, I mean, I don't know. It kind of sounds like I was trying to, or it kind of sounded to me when I said that like I was being a little douchey. Now, I'm not being douchey. I'm just going straight talk from the hip. If anybody is trying to commission me for a painting, it is not going to be cheap. Just so you know. My days and my nights are jam-packed with stuff. And honestly, paint commissions need to compete with all of the other stuff I got to do. And if I got to take 70 hours out of this next month to do a painting for somebody, they're gonna have to be a good reason to do it. So, is it because I'm the best artist in the world? Nope. It's just because I'm crazy busy, dude. I do make some good paintings. Not to necessarily pat myself on the back or anything. I do like some of my paintings. So, it's just one of those things. It's in a full-on competition of a crazy full schedule. So, I know a store a little while back commissioned me for a painting, and I was like, it's $2,000. And they were like, wow, $2,000. And I was like, yep. And they were like, okay. And they sent over the check. So, it's just, and then, you know, some people, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be like $900 for that painting. And they're like, $900? You know, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like, what do you want me to do, man? Like, if I have a bunch of spare time, I go work. I will go dig a hole. I will go pour concrete. I'll go hang drywall. I'll go do electrical. I'll go do whatever I gotta do. You know, if it's time to make money, then that's, you know, kind of the deal. You know what I mean? So it's just the way that it goes. You know, and you know, even when I was just full-time art, I still charged for all of the hours that I worked. You know, and like I said, if something's gonna take me like 70 hours plus materials and all that kind of stuff, you just start to add that up. You know, two full weeks of work. You know, how much does somebody get paid? Even if you only got paid $10 an hour, it'd still be $700. You know. So Jamie says next time it'll be $2,500. Like, I don't. It's hardly even an arrogance thing. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just a time thing. Like, I just don't have it. And, you know, some people have told me that, like, you know, there are a lot of people out there that they have these, like, altruistic sayings that they go around, like, kind of throwing out, right? They're like, you know, do it because you love it. Do it because you love it, not because you gotta make money. And here's the deal, like, I mean, if I was only going to do things that I love because I love doing it, period, I think the bank would come by here and be like, yeah, we're taking the house away. The lights are turned off. The internet's turned off. The gas is turned off. You guys just live on the streets now. So, you know, it's just pragmatic, you know. Also, as Allie Greenwell is saying, I'm right there with you. I also charge that much because other artists should be charging that much also. And I feel like when other artists out there sell their stuff for like $50, you're screwing over everybody else. You know? And it just, you know, it's just not a good idea. You know, it's like, so you're going to be a starving artist because of your altruistic reasons, right? Like you do it because you love it. And then you're like, you know, now the market says that, oh, so 100 hours of your work is only worth $50, you know, which, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Allie says it's annoying to hear comments like that. She's a teacher and she loves her kids. And I love my job, but you got to eat. That's right. You know, we have to eat. You have to pay the bills. You have to. How am I going to get? How am I going to put money in my retirement if I'm like, I'll trade you this painting for a box of cookies. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's just kind of like how it goes. And I feel like it really devalues a lot of other artists, or, you know, why would somebody be super cool with paying $6,000 to get their house painted, but they're not cool with paying, you know, $2,000 to get a mural painted on like a third of their house, right? Does that make sense? You know, and B Lion says make $20 to $50 prints. I've done the prints in the past and stuff like that, and it is a crazy rabbit hole of bad news. Inconsistent printers that won't print them properly, or they'll go on cheaper paper than you even agreed on. Shipping costs, like just flat out shipping costs, but also who are you paying to actually ship them out, or are you shipping them out? Because I could get paid on an electrician's salary, or I could be shipping out $8 prints and it take me 5 hours, right? So how many $10 prints do I have to send out for that to suddenly start making sense? You see what I mean? Like, it's just a compounding thing. There are companies out there that will automatically do it, but in my experience, there are a lot of people out there that don't necessarily maintain a high level quality with their work, right? So, you know, it's just kind of one of those things. And it's all good. Like, I appreciate people that do prints and do that kind of stuff. Like, that's awesome. I'm sure, as Beeline's saying, that's how he pays his bills. Originals rarely sell. Like, that's awesome. Most of my stuff, I have like some photos of things up online and stuff like that. People could just go on there and download a copy of the picture or something like that. You know, it's all good. Like, I never put like copyrights or watermarks on stuff, because it's just not that big of a deal. You can go onto my Instagram and you could look at a ton of art on there for free. You know what I mean? So, that's like a perfect example. Like, hey, you know, you could buy an original from me, or you could just go over to my Instagram and look at, like, you know, 700. I mean, a bunch of them's like pictures and stuff like that, but there's a bunch of my paintings and progress shots and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So there's a bunch of stuff like that on Instagram. Like, I feel like I just would rather people have a digital copy of it. Like, they could just check it out online. And 54 Punchies mentioned Patreon. We have a Patreon page here. That's one of the reasons I'm able to come on and do this show, is because of the Patreon people. Like, I mean, if everybody dropped off Patreon, I would just be like, cool, man, you're going to get an edited video every once in a blue moon. I think that's realistic, because I just, you know, it's at this point in time, you know, we're struggling to hit new goals or anything like that. I am eternally grateful to everybody that has patronized and all that kind of stuff, for sure, 100%. You know, I feel I don't know if we're growing. I don't know if we're headed in the right direction. I'm gonna keep doing the best that I can. You know, so it's we're moving forward, and I feel great and everything. I guess I'm just on this whole rant because of talking about paintings and stuff. Like, I love doing paintings, and I've definitely, you know, kept the heat on and paid some bills and stuff like that with paintings and things. But you know, like, it's really hard. It's a really hard grind to be able to try and, you know, convert all of that time into something that actually is can become, a viable piece of income realistically. So I just give out the free digital copies for people that are like, I can't afford it. It's like, yeah, but you can just look at it and appreciate it, and there you go. I mean, you could print out a crappy copy at your house. It's different if you print out a crappy copy versus some company printing out a crappy copy that you paid for, right? It's Nature Man says a local carpenter was commissioned to make a crazy table. The buyer was reluctant to pay 10 grand, but a year later it was appraised for 50 grand. That's pretty much how that kind of stuff goes. You get quality, you get some quality work, you get certain things done. That does cost money, but if it's something that you want to do, then you just kind of do it. Creedmoor Aquatics says, how long do you think it should take to dig a 5-foot deep round hole 10 feet across? I don't know if I'm lazy or digging wrong, but I haven't made much progress. I will tell you this. I dug a 12-foot by 12-foot square hole at the Aquarium Co-op's home in Spokane, Washington. I don't know. Where does Corey live? I don't know. And that was about, by the end of it, it was, I think it might be over 5 feet deep. But I will tell you, that took about probably 5 solid days of digging, honestly. I think you make about, like, the first foot is really easy. And then after that, you're probably making a foot a day, especially if you're moving all of the, because I was basically, we'd be down there, I would jackhammer it to bust it up. Then, then I'd shovel it up into a wheelbarrow, right? Then I would take the wheelbarrow all the way around to the back and dump it around back, and then come back and do that again. So it does take a long time digging that stuff by hand. And, that was one of those things. Like, Corey and I went into that big koi pond project. We went into it in the idea that, like, anybody could do this. Like, if you have a shovel and some tools and stuff like that, and you're doing all right, maybe you got some buddies or whatever, and we may have overshot. We may have overshot just how much work it was going to be if we were going to do it that way. I think if we do another one, we're probably going to rent a piece of equipment. It would be a lot cheaper. As long as we get the survey done to make sure there's no utilities in the ground, we would be pretty good. I'm getting super stressed out because I keep hearing my baby crying. You guys notice that? You guys ever notice that, like, oh man, my baby's crying? I start getting Papa Bear up in here. You know what I mean? I'm like, is it the postman? Do I gotta go tell the postman to stop making my baby cry? It's not the postman. The postman. They forgot to get the package out here. I don't know what happened. I wish I kind of knew what happened. It would make it a lot easier to digest if we knew what happened to the plants. They should be here today, though. It is saying that they're going to drop it off today. And I will check before the end of the show if it did get dropped off. We'll see. Yeah, you guys can hear Olivia. I have so much compression on this mic, and you can still hear. That gives you an idea, like, how loud she is. Oh, I've actually got the cloud lifter on here. That's probably why you can hear it. She is with the sitter. She's with Sam, so she's with Samantha, so there is no worries. She's just super fussy today. She got her shots. I think she might need some Tylenol. I would imagine that her legs are still super sore because she got those shots. And anytime you have her, like, stand up and, like, stretch her legs, like, really good, she's like, oh, it feels great. So I'm guessing it still has to do with those shots. They're probably still a little bit sore. Probably a little bit sore today, so I might give her a little dose of the baby Tylenol. That came, but that was Amazon. I wish I had a neighbor with an excavator. Yeah, you could probably find an excavator to come out pretty simply these days, and or Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware or something like that. You could go inquire about somebody that can maybe just come out and dig a little hole for you for half a day or something like that. That'd be the best bet. I wouldn't call like a big company. A big company is going to have a ton of money to come out, but like the home improvement stores would be pretty good, because you could probably just have them come out for like 4 hours or something like that. You could probably even rent one yourself. They're really not that difficult to operate. Oh, did I miss a super chat? I think I did. Oh, we got a Swedish Krones super chat from Rumbus 1709. Rochelle says hello from Newfoundland, Canada. Right on. Digging it. See, here's what's funny. The other day, I did point out that if I go to my analytics, it's like, it literally says, what is it? Like, it's like 94% male, 6% female that are subscribers to the show. And somebody pointed out to me that they go default. It goes default into the men group if you put nothing in. So I'm really wondering if something's up. I'm wondering if something's up with that, because like we got, I don't know, we got Savannah's here. Like, I feel like there's a lot of women that actually show up for the show and stuff. I just thought it was weird. I don't know. I just thought it just popped in my head when I was like, hey. Although I guess I am being fairly presumptive to assume that, oh man, I forgot your name. Where did it go? It was right near Rumba Super Chat. Where'd it go? Oh, Rochelle. So I guess I am being pretty presumptive to assume that somebody named Rochelle is a female. I don't know. But that thing popped into my head. I don't know why. Kevin mentioned, hi, what would be a good cleanup crew in a 15-gallon pea puffer tank? I'm thinking autosinkless. Also, how are you? No, autosinkless, no. In a 15-gallon, no. I cannot recommend anybody to put autosinkless in a tiny tank. They need to be in a big tank and a really big school. Okay? Autosinkless should not be used as cleanup crew. And I certainly wouldn't add any species of anything to a tank as a cleanup crew. Now, if you wanted something to eat leftover food, I would recommend something like Cory cats that could be, so I'm thinking like pygmy Cory cats. Those would be pretty good because they'll get down there and kind of like rustle up everything. They won't get eaten by pea puffers. Autosinkless in a 15-gallon with pea puffers, the type of food that you're putting in there, they'll just die. You'd just be throwing your money away and just killing the fish. I mean, realistically. And I know somebody out there is going to yell at me in the comments and be like, I had autosinkless in a 2-gallon aquarium and they lived for 900 years. Like, okay. But aside from that, really, oh man, I forgot. Well, you guys are all about the arrow. I forgot. I got to put the arrow on. Oh, let's first do this. Have you guys tried Aquarium Co-op Easy Green? Aquarium Co-op is our affiliate sponsor. If you go through our link and buy stuff at the Aquarium Co-op, we get credit. We charge it. Then we get Sierra Stone. We trade for Sierra Stone. Yes, affiliate sponsor, Aquarium Coop. Whoa! Is that the worst? It wasn't intended to be a commercial. I was just literally like, I saw that button. It's right next to the arrow. Yes, arrow time. What? Guys, You should really try Easy Green with the arrow, and I'll put the arrow right on my face. So, but literally we have the three-prong sponsorship attack mode. We've got the Patreon. Oh, I don't have my Patreon overlay. Where'd my Patreon logo go? All right, we have to do this during the show. Whoa. I'm so easily amused. I have the mind of a child. Let me see here. Let's add source. Media files. Ooh, do I have one in here? Let's see if I got one in here. Oh, no, guys. We got to go to a different file. We got to go to over here. Different drive. I think it might be in here. Uh-oh. Mom's spaghetti. Is that Eminem has invaded my computer? It's Mom's spaghetti. It's Mom's esketti. Hold on. I don't think it's in there. It might be in fonts. PNG files? Ooh. Oh, look at all these fancy PNG files. Is this one transparent? Oh my God, I got it right. Okay, let's move the arrow around. I'm not going to put Amazon up on here, but we have a three-pronged pincer sponsorship attack, and we've got Patreon, right? If you go over to Patreon/Joel C, that's me. That's us. Dems is the Oceaneers. Mad props to everybody on Patreon for helping sponsor this show. Can be as little as $1 a month. It comes out on the first of the month. Hey, easy. Could be $5 a month. Could be $1 million. You'll have to open more accounts to do $1 million, though. But seriously, if you're going to donate $1 million for me to do shows, just email me and we'll figure it out. I'd prefer small bills unmarked in a suitcase and leave it under a bridge, and I'll find it. Anyhow, all the Patreonizers, and we have an affiliate sponsorship from Aquarium Co-op. So if you guys go through our affiliate link and you go buy stuff there, gives us credit. Also, my stupid face. Anyhow, let's. What's the other one? The other one is. What's the other one? The other one is Amazon. If you go through the Amazon store. If you go through the Amazon store, you'll be able to check out a bunch of stuff that I've used. And what is this? Mr. Gillett just sent me something. What is this? Uh-oh. Tooth mouse? Oh, man, the tooth mouse is a thing. All right, well, I'm officially freaked out for what's going on in New Zealand. Thanks, guy. Oh, Mr. Gillette, you're freaking me out, bruh. Anyhow, so that's our three sponsors. Let's turn these off. We'll turn that one. Whoa. Oops. How do I... Oh. Oh, wrong one. I have to leave that one on. And where did the Patreon go? Turn that off. Okay, back to the show for a minute. And I'm realizing I got to get rolling. Because it's been a while. It's been a while since I felt you. And I got a bunch of stuff to do. And I got stuff to do. Let's see. What size 3.0 for a 120 long planted tank from Green Ranger? You want to do the 48 inch one. I have the 48, 60 inch, whatever that one is. It's 48 to 60 inch. I have that one over my 120s right now, and I am super happy with how well it's performing. I haven't found a plant yet that doesn't grow under it. There might be one somewhere, but it ain't here. But it's working fantastically. I've also got one over my 150, and they're doing fine. They're doing fine. I've also got the reef lights over my reef right now, and boy howdy is it growing softies for sure. So very happy with that. Coralline algae is doing quite well. And let me double check here before we wrap up the show, because I did the commercials there. We wrapped up the commercials. No new patronizers or anything like that. Cool. We good with that part. I don't want to miss that. I don't want to miss your patronization. But we did have some super chats today. One from Ryan and Nebraska SXHC and Rumbus. Thanks, guys, for coming out. And thanks for your contribution. Definitely appreciate it. And, all right. I think that's going to be the end of the show. Very unceremoniously end the show and let everybody know it's the middle of the week. Have a fantastic night. Love y'all, and I will talk to you later.